Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Big Ten champions. Big Ten champs.
National champions, yes.
Oklahoma City bound the Oregon Ducks.
Awesome day to be a Duck, man.
Boom inside. Touchdown Oregon. He gets loose. Fires. Hit. Pops the three. Oh, yeah. It's all Oregon.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
It's about how to be a group of people that know how to love each other to the absolute fullest.
Pleasure, a joy to be with them each and every day. And I can't wait for the future.
It's just fun to be a part of a community that cares, that is passionate, and when we come together, powerful things can happen.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck athletics.
Women's basketball postseason off to a great start. They're continuing in the Big Ten tournament tonight. Oregon women's basketball with an 82-64 win over Purdue built a 21-12 lead in the first quarter and ultimately won the second quarter 26-12. Purdue with a little bit of a comeback, but it was all Oregon all the way. An 82-64 win. Ducks now advance to play, well, what is frankly a good team in the number 6 seed and the number 14 nationally ranked Maryland Terrapins. Ducks are now 21-11, 8-10 in Big Ten play. The Terps are 23-7, 11-7 in Big Ten play. They're number 14 in the net, while Oregon is number 26 in the net. Tonight, the Big Ten tournament continues. Chris Clayton's got a 5:30 pregame show for you and a 6 o'clock tip-off this evening when Oregon women's basketball continues in the Big Ten tournament against Maryland. We'll talk a lot more about this matchup. And also, I tell you, I'm having a little bit of a hard time processing that basketball season is coming to an end. It does seem like it's gone fast. And with that in mind, it also feels like 5 years have gone by fast for Nate Bittle. We're going to talk with Nate Bittle here coming up in the studio, getting you ready for men's basketball senior day against Washington on Saturday evening. That's on the horizon. 8 o'clock start at Matthew Knight Arena for senior day. We're going to talk with Nate Bittle. Also, a couple of wins for Oregon Lacrosse. Head coach Jess Drummond will be with us next segment. We've got some fan specials for you around Oregon athletics, and a reminder that the Ducks baseball team is in action tomorrow, which means that we will not have a Duck Insider because the first pitch is at 1 o'clock. Yeah, Oregon baseball going to be on the air here across the Oregon Sports Network against Purdue. Ryan's got a 12:45 pregame show for you tomorrow. Well, you know what? Let's just hear from Kelly Graves. A pretty happy Kelly Graves postgame. He talked with Chris Clayton. Ducks get the win. They're advancing in the Big Ten tournament to play Maryland tonight at 6 after the win against Purdue. KG.
Oregon beats Purdue by a final score of 82-64. And we're joined now by Ducks head coach Kelly Graves. Coach, a little different than when you beat them a week ago, but a win nonetheless. What do you think was the key that sparked, especially that first half?
Well, it sure in that second half didn't feel like an 18-point game. I know we were never really in danger of them coming back, but you know I'm a perfectionist and I want to make sure that we play with the same kind of intensity in the second half as we did in the first. You know, in both games, you know. Against these guys, we kind of lost some lead, and you know, like I said, we weren't in any danger of losing the game. But my goodness, we've got to be able to knock people out, especially when we're going to play extra games, right? So it would have been nice to maintain a nice lead and maybe get some of our big minute kids some rest, and we were unable to do that because you know I didn't feel like we had it in hand at any point until maybe the last minute or two. So. Learning process. He's, you know, she's got to stay on the floor. You know, we talk to her all the time. She's unguardable. She has 12 and 8 in the first half and limited minutes because of foul trouble. Kid, they can't guard you. Stay on the court. And I think at least 2 of her 4 fouls were just kind of dumb. Like, what are we doing here? So, you know, again, you can't fault her because she's so aggressive and always wants to make the play. But sometimes you just give them the 2 and you live to fight another day. So I don't know what was her plus minus.
That's a good question. Let's find that. It was.
Well, that's
plus 3.
Only 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Felt like more.
It sure did. But I thought Katie played well. I thought we had a bunch of kids, especially in that first half. We shared the wealth a little bit, and You know, it was nice to see Mia come out and hit a couple threes. Yeah. You know, it's been a couple of weeks since she's, made a three in game competition. So just to see that ball go in, I think was really important for her. You know, we had only one turnover in the first half, and then we come back with 8 in the second. You know, again, those are just things where we kind of lost some focus, and we've got to be better, because now every team we play is an NCAA tournament team from here on out.
And you mentioned earlier in our pregame conversation, in March, most of these games are close. Well, free throws can decide those, and you guys were 27 of 29, 93%.
Who missed 2?
You had one miss from Katie and one from Felipa.
Well, the fact that we took 29 free throws is incredible.
Yes.
It was a physical game. They were really physical. I don't know how many of them fouled up, 3 or 4 of them. Three. And but they tried to beat us up, and I think it was some effectiveness in that second half. But I credit Purdue. I really like Coach Katie. I think she does a good job. And, they could have given up down 24, and they didn't. They continued to fight in that second half, and we gave them a little confidence and reason to believe when they hit some threes. But in the end, it was a good win, and it was an 18-point win.
Yeah. Well, you got a press conference to go to, so
I do?
I'll let you go.
Yeah, they're all yelling at me.
Well, we'll talk tomorrow.
All right, bud.
Head coach Kelly Graves as the Ducks beat the Boilermakers 82-64.
That's Kelly Graves talking with Chris Clayton. I love that. We're going to hear that press conference, by the way. And you hear it, though, like, you win 82-64, but it's a game the Ducks feel like they should win. And they wanted to, in a lot of ways, pull away. I will tell you, though, I thought a huge key here. Mia Jacobs came back against Washington and now scored 14 points, had 9 rebounds in this game. She went 6 for 6 at the free throw line. I think Mia Jacobs is a difference maker for Oregon. They haven't had her the last few weeks, now getting more in rhythm as she returns to the floor. And she was one of the reasons that Oregon was successful against Maryland last time out. Last time the Ducks played Maryland, they beat them at Maryland 68-61. Mia Jacobs had 5 rebounds. She was in a little foul trouble in that game. Only scored 6 points against Maryland and was 2 of 10 from the floor. Oregon still won. So imagine now if someone like Mia Jacobs gets it going against Maryland, and the Ducks may very well like the outcome here this evening. Kelly Graves, Ahisa Tute, and Katie Fiso postgame last night. They get you ready for Maryland tonight at 6 o'clock as the Ducks run in the Big Ten tournament continues. The Ducks at the podium postgame.
Well, happy we won. I do want to say how much that, I look up to Coach Katie. She had that team ready. They continued to fight the whole time, so I give Purdue a lot of credit for making that second half interesting. But, we played a great first half, obviously. 1 turnover, we shot the ball well, we distributed the wealth, so to speak, and it was one of our better halves. But, we're still a relatively young team, and we've got to learn how to, close teams out when we've got them down. And we just kind of putzed around a little bit. I don't know if I can use that word here. In that second half, and they tightened it up a little bit. But real physical game, but we're excited to be moving on.
It's not unusual for you to be giving up a little bit of size in the post. Just what were some keys to still being able to be productive tonight in those specific matchups?
Well, before the game, I had film with Trey, and he told me that I should square up and use my speed against them rather than try and power them up, because that would be much easier for me. So I think that was one of the key factors that I tried to change this game in comparison to the last one we played against them.
And Katie, just kind of as the floor general, what were keys you think to starting so well as a group, and then maybe what are some things as you look back on the second half you guys could have done a little bit different to maybe match their intensity when they counterpunched?
Yeah, just echoing what Coach said. When we move the ball, when we distribute the ball on all players on the court, we're a dangerous threat. We have a lot of threats on the floor, so utilizing those threats, finding the open person, finding the hot hand, whoever's hot, continue to feed them the ball. And then into the second half, I feel like we dimmed that a little bit. It started to stick a little bit more. So just, moving the ball more. So,
Katie, something I thought that was specific, especially impressive about your game, especially in that third quarter, was your ability to get 2 feet in the paint and use your footwork to kind of finish. Can you talk about how important that aspect of your game, your footwork, is for you, and how you've kind of built upon that over the course of your career?
Yeah, it's obviously, I feel like it's not on the scout, it's kind of, I'm more of like a get downhill finesse type of player, but slowing down, being patient off 2 feet, finding the open person or finding the open cup has been key for me. Coach always says, finish off balance, making the plays on balance, so it helps me, it makes the game a lot more easier for me, and yeah.
Yeah, Katie, this is the second time you've faced Nia Smith, a former AAU teammate of yours at Tree of Hope, limiting her to 2 points compared to the first matchup. What's it like, you and her going back and forth being former AAU teammates, and then what was the key to getting her uncomfortable shooting the ball tonight?
Yeah, it's great seeing a former AAU teammate on a big stage like this in the Big Ten tournament. The Big Ten is the best conference, I believe, and seeing former teammates on there, I'm just proud of her. She's come a long way. She's developed such a great game, and just the key was, no catch and shoot threes, no downhill. She's a great person, great ball player off the dribble. So taking that away really helped the team get this win today.
Can either of you speak to the accomplishments Mia Jacobs had tonight? 14 points, 9 rebounds, pretty much on the floor, and she really helped you guys out.
Yeah, having her back in this game, obviously we didn't have her for the first matchup. We didn't have her for the first matchup. It kind of was shown in the game, but having her today, she's just another threat on the court that the defense has to scout on. So many players, so many threats. Ahis, Mia, Sophia, Ari, Sarah, like all these people, we have so many threats, and I think that's what makes our team so versatile and so dangerous when we tap into those threats.
What was it like playing this game, knowing potentially you could play several days in a row? You'd like to play several days in a row. Did you guys try to manage your energy level at all, or did you just have to think one game at a time?
That's a great question. Did we try to manage our player load, Kelly?
You go hard. Every time we step on the court, you got to go hard. So that's just our motto. I feel like that's the type of players we are. Ahis right here, she never takes no breaks.
Never.
She's the most hardworking person on this team.
Don't ever do it.
Could you just speak to that point as well, just how you approach a game like this, particularly as you start to open up a little bit of a lead? Do you have to stay focused on this one? Do you start to think about the rest of the week?
Well, that's where our immaturity comes into play. I wish we could have come out in that first 5 minutes of the second half and kind of put our foot down and build on the lead that we had, so that we could, give them some rest. I mean, if we hope to win this thing, it's 5-game gauntlet, for crying out loud. So, any minutes you can give your kids on the bench, you take them. But again, credit Purdue. They really battled and fought back. But yeah, rest at this point. I already told them we're not going to use our shoot around tomorrow because we got to sleep in. It's West Coast time. They ask you to have a 9 a.m. shoot around. Yeah, good thinking.
Hey, Coach. He says since we've got into conference play, come on a lot and been a lot more productive. But she does a lot of things for you guys that doesn't show up in the box score, right? Setting screens, her passing, the way that, just her knowledge of the game overall. When you look at how she's grown from the beginning of the season to now, what are some of the things that you like the most about that growth?
Well, it's a great question, and if you've watched her growth, you've seen her grow right before our eyes. Last year just didn't play a whole lot. Even early in this year, she was kind of a role player and continued to work hard and get better and be productive on the court. And I think now you're starting to see the realization of all her hard work. It's a shame she wasn't, didn't receive any kind of mention in our all-conference. She averaged 15.1 and 9.7, top 5 in field goal percentage and number 1 in rebound percentage, and she's a heck of a talent. So it's really been fun. I think she's just scratching the surface. I really do. Once she develops a perimeter game, she still struggles sometimes against length. Not necessarily skinny length, but broad length, because she's an Adrian Dantley type. Look his name up. for some of you young people out
know
there.
who he is.
Our generation knows it. These young ones may not
Stud.
know, but and he was able to get it done at 6'3" or 4" around the basket. So she's kind of got a little bit of that. But I'm telling you, she's a warrior. She really is. We just got to keep her on the floor, keep her out of that foul trouble. She'll have her work cut out for her against Maryland, though. They're long and skilled inside. Yes, sir.
Since you mentioned Maryland, the last time we saw you guys play Maryland, Heath did have a really good game against the length and the size. When you look at this matchup that you guys are going to have tomorrow night, what are some things that you think that you guys can do differently to make sure the outcome's in the same and so you guys can move on to the next round of the tournament?
Yeah, we'll try to anticipate what they're going to do differently and counteract that. Where I thought did a great job the first time we played them, we took the three ball away from Poffenbarger and Garzon. I think they made one between the two of them. Now, we didn't do a great job on their penetrator. We're going to have to do a little bit better there. We certainly did in the second half, but they come at you in so many different ways. They've got 5 or 6 different players that can get you 20 on any given night, so they're really difficult to guard. So, we'll have to be on point, do what we always do, try to mix up the defenses a little bit to keep people off balance best we can. Like I said, we're not playing with house money. I mean, we're here to win games and do the best we can, but we're just gonna go out and let her rip tomorrow. I mean, that's all we can do.
Good stuff. Now tomorrow is today, as that's Kelly Graves meeting with the media yesterday along with Ahisa Tute and Katie Fiso. The Ducks match up with Maryland tonight, a 5:30 pregame show. Ducks did have some success against Maryland last time. They won 68-61, outshot them 45-37%, and held Maryland to 13% from 3. Got to do a good job there, and I think that's going to be a key. But you heard Coach Graves even mention Okonaway, for example, scored 27 points. The starting guard for Maryland, got to slow her down, but things are going to look a little bit different, right? It was Ahisa Tute scoring 26 and 11 rebounds that was really the fuel for Oregon. And then also, Sophia Bell hit some critical shots in that game. She had 16 points and was 4 of 6 from downtown. Now, I say all this, and of course, this is a new game. Everything's going to be a little different, as Coach Graves alluded to. 6 o'clock tonight, Big Ten tournament continues for Oregon women's basketball against Maryland. Timeout. When we come back after a couple wins, Jess Drummond is here, Oregon Lacrosse head coach, with us in the Country Financial studio in a moment on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs. And for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working at our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack. She's Jess Drummond, head coach of Oregon Lacrosse. Couple of wins since we last talked, Coach.
Woo.
Hey, congrats on the wins. Always
Thanks.
good to win. What'd you take away from your week?
Oh, just good, like really good practices. I feel like we just had super intense. I think we talked about that last week. We needed to kind of ramp up the chaos in practices, have a little bit more pressure on each possession that we have. And so I feel like that really paid out, especially in UC Davis, and then having that confidence going into Delaware State.
Well, you know, you mentioned like intensifying practice. I'm glad you brought that up because it seems like you always hear coaches talk about we need to practice like we're going to play, right?
Yeah.
But then to see it come to fruition, how rewarding is that as a coach?
Super awesome. Yeah, and we had a great practice on Monday that I think definitely carried over from that win, and we didn't have to put in sort of consequences or challenges within practices. They just showed up and they went at that level of play that we've been trying to push them at or to get to from the weeks leading up to that.
Well, and so talk about the context of the season always having ebbs and flows. You're sitting at 5-2 now. You get a win over UC Davis 10-9. Defensive effort down the stretch. What are the takeaways? Take us through it.
Yeah, you know, I think that was probably one of our bigger first games where defense didn't get those stops right away, and it was a big wake up to them of like, oh snap, we got to turn it on. And so that was helpful, you know, to make those changes going into that second half, having a little reset at halftime, you know, getting French in there, you know, adjusting the defensive. We had 5 defenders in the first half, and then the second half we went to just back to 4 defenders with 3 middies. And I think that really reset them, getting back into our flow and not making things a little bit more chaotic.
You talk about changing your orientation of positions, right? When you have a midi come in and a defender, like for those that are maybe like me learning lacrosse, what does that do for your team when you have an extra midfielder versus an extra defender, vice versa?
Yeah, you know, I think it helps having the middies who are super used to that fast break transition. They're playing up top a lot, especially in practices, in a game. We've got our 4 defenders, usually 2 crease, and then kind of in that elbow inside position. So I think having another defender who's not used to maybe playing in that area with the middies, you just got to think about the whole defensive unit, the cohesiveness, who's used to playing with each other. So that kind of all goes into making those decisions.
You talk about adjustments too. Like just how proud are you as a coach when your team makes adjustments during a game and then you end up winning by 1 goal in a tight contest?
So awesome. You know, I think to me that showed a lot of just focus, determination, and not being rattled by, yes, of course Davis was going to score goals. They were a gritty team. They fought hard, and then us having those adjustments and the team seeing it pay off is always a benefit for them to kind of believe in the game plan, believe in themselves, and build that confidence to finish a game.
And then you have a little bit of momentum. You talk about getting back on the winning side. You end up winning 20-3 against Delaware State. I just want to read a statistic for everybody that the Ducks outshot Delaware State 46-5. I don't care who you're playing. Coach, that's an impressive number. It sticks out to me. What sticks out to you as a coach?
Yeah, just the opportunities, taking advantage of that. Like, I felt like all of our looks were solid looks, and to be able to get the ball back that many times, you know, I give a lot of kudos to our attackers and our middies for riding so hard that third and fourth quarter to not allow them to get those opportunities on defense. Like, that's, to me, the discipline, the grittiness we've been trying to instill consistently with them, and having everybody be on that field. Such a team win. It's so satisfying. It's such a good rally, and I hope everyone's moods are fired up from that.
Well, you mentioned afterwards, the day of the game, that like this was a chance for you to kind of show what you are. You feel like you did that, like you made some progress in the identity of your team?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, we had a great practice on Monday. We had an okay practice on Tuesday, but then to go out there and do it on Wednesday, you know, on the game day when it really matters and what really counts, that was awesome.
Lily Fortin, I wanted to ask you. I mean, just the way jumps off the stat sheet a little bit. What did you take away as a coaching staff?
Just big fan. I think we might have mentioned this before on her. Like, she just is calm, cool, and consistent. Like, she does the same things in practices. It doesn't get rattled easily. If she makes a mistake, she's on to the next play, and I just really admire that about her characteristics of how she plays lacrosse.
And talking too about the zoom out, if we could, Coach, like to get back-to-back wins the way that you do, it does feel a little different coming off a win. We talked last time about coming off losses. So now how do you continue that momentum in practice?
Yeah, I think we're going to do a lot of what we did the week of going into Davis. I think that was really helpful to have those challenges and practices to push everybody. And, you know, I think yesterday was a great opportunity for those who hadn't been getting so many minutes to be itching for those more minutes in the future, too. I think that, again, we talk about taking advantage of your opportunities and that everyone has an opportunity.
Well, we've talked a lot about depth with your team this year. In order to realize some of that depth, right? You got to get out to an early lead. You did that
Yeah.
with a 6-1 advantage. What can that do for your team over the course, maybe not just in one in particular game, but for a whole season with that depth?
Just that confidence. I think once we got that lead, we were like, okay, we got this. We can keep doing this. And I think, that's not going to come easily every game, but if you can get 1 goal, 2 goals, and just continue to have that confidence in every goal that you score in a game, especially once we come to Big Ten opponents, that should still build your momentum just as much as a 6-1 lead.
I think sometimes, too, like in talking about depth, there's often a focus on who's in goal, it seems like, in lacrosse, right? It comes up. Well, you got a chance to have all of them on display. What's the breakdown in goal right now?
Just great. I think that they continue to push each other at practice, and, we don't know what's going to happen until it's game day, and it's kind of how you show up every week. And, pushing your teammates, it depends on who our opponent is, what the strengths our goalies are going to provide for that game. Like, that goes into making those decisions as well.
Lastly, Kent State coming up on Monday.
Yeah.
What do you know about Kent State? The Flashes.
What's that?
The Flashes.
I know. I didn't even know that was a thing. Golden Flash. Cool.
Great name.
Yeah.
The Ducks and the Golden Flashes.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah, very cool. I was excited to learn that. Yeah. They're gritty too. Like, they play a different style that we haven't seen on offense. So I'll be excited to start getting some reps against, like, having our defense prep that tomorrow. But it's just been awesome. I feel like they're another team that's like in Eastern Michigan. Like, they just won't stop, and they're going to come out here just as that eager. I think, having somebody in their own conference get a Big Ten win, that's going to motivate them. And I think we've got to come out and use this as another opportunity to, like, rise to the challenge.
You said Big Ten. Just a reminder that the Big Ten play, we're a little more than a week away from Big Ten play. So final non-conference, some key success. What do you want to see from your team?
Yeah, piecing things together. I think we had a lot of awesome things against Davis, some Delaware State, and again, like, using that as our last opportunity against a team that's not conference to continue to piece things together and show up and play.
Jess Drummond, Oregon Lacrosse head coach. Thanks, Coach.
Woo!
Appreciate you taking the time. Best of luck.
Thanks.
Here's to more momentum.
Great.
All right, we're going to get time out. Come back. Men's basketball senior day coming up. Always a little bittersweet. Breaking that down with Nate Bittle when we return on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This is Meditating with Jan from Toyota. Soften your focus and imagine yourself off-roading in a Tacoma. Breathe in, breathe out, and go from dreaming it to driving it today. That's Jan's meditation.
Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Meditating with Jan from Toyota. Soften your focus and imagine yourself off-roading in a Tacoma. Breathe in, breathe out, and go from dreaming it to driving it today. That's Jan's meditation.
Toyota, let's go places.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Last time that Nate Bittle's going to hear that at Matthew Knight Arena here coming up, along with 4 other seniors at the Ducks will celebrate as we welcome you back to Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I asked Nate Bittle this week. I said, Nate, I think I'd love for you to come into the studio You know, I wanted to make sure that we celebrate a guy who's been here for 5 years, has given so much and gotten so much from this university. Had the chance to catch up and look back on what is a pretty great career with Nate Bittle, and we'll celebrate it on Senior Day when the Ducks play Washington on Saturday at 8 o'clock, a 7:30 pregame show with myself and Luke Jackson. Nate Bittle's now in the same sentence as Luke Jackson in a couple different ways in the Oregon record book. Nate Bittle, good conversation. All right, this is a little bit of a bittersweet day for me because I asked Nate Bittle. By the way, Nate Bittle here in the Country Financial studio. I said, look, Nate, like you got to come into the studio one last time, get ready for Senior Day. And a little bit behind the broadcast, I asked Nate, like, if you thought about it, and you were like, no.
No, not yet.
And I hate to tell you, I think this might be the moment you start to think about it, Nate. So bear with me, okay?
I got you.
Bear with me. First of all, let's just start and get the elephant out of the way. The season hasn't gone the way that anyone would like. I'm curious, Nate, like for you hear things like that, but yet you've come back from a couple injuries. You're still playing hard. Like, what's this season been like for you in all seriousness?
Yeah.
Probably ups and downs.
Well, you know, it has been tough for everybody on our team. It's been a long season, rough season, and I think that we've done a good job as, you know, a team coming in every day, wanting to work, wanting to get better. You know, guys are still in the gym, doing their workouts, getting in the weight room, practicing hard. And I think that's, you know, one thing that I've taken a lot of appreciation for is because, you know, it hasn't gone how we've all wanted it to, how we expected it to. And, you know, guys are just showing up, still working, continuing to put in work, going out there. You know, we had a couple games there. We went down to USC, got a good win, Wisconsin at home. And, you know, it's coming down to my last couple games like we were just talking about. You know, I just told you I played my last away game in my college career. And, you know, it's nice having teammates that, you know, are still there for me. And, you know, we're trying to go out there and play hard. And, you know, we've had a lot of injuries this year with a lot of different guys going down. But, you know, guys are just showing up every day working, and I appreciate that.
Well, I'll tell you what. I want to tell you something. I'm sure Coach has told you this, but he's also said it now to me a couple times. That he gives a lot of credit to you, KJ, and Sean for just leadership. And, you know, when you hear things like that from your coach and he's saying it publicly, how does that make you feel, Nate, like as a leader of this team?
Yeah, it makes me feel good. And, you know, I like I just said, like, you know, KJ, Sean, those are guys that come in every day, work super hard. You know, KJ missed one game this year when he was sick. Sean hasn't missed any games. And, you know, I think it just goes to show about, you know, how much they care about the team, what they've poured into, you know, this program. You know, KJ's been here for 3 years. This is Sean's first year, but, you know, he's shown that, you know, he cares a lot about this program. And, you know, I know Coach we've had to have guys that step up and lead. You know, Jackson went down there early, and, you know, we had to have different guys step up. But, you know, everybody's done a good job of doing their role.
From a player's perspective, as someone who has been through injuries, I asked you this last year, and now unfortunately you've had even more examples to think through.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like as a player when you go through an injury, and what have you learned maybe from going through injuries the way you have?
Yeah, well, you know, early on in my career, when I had my broken wrist,
right.
That was
diving for a ball, by the way,
yeah.
like, you know, it happens, right?
Yeah, and you know, that was a tough time too, just because, you know, whoops. Let me turn that off.
Alarm's ready. See? He was here on time.
Let me see. I know I got more set, so I'm just going to turn them off.
That's a smart man right there.
But you know, with that broken wrist, I had a lot of, you know, I played 3 games, was out for the couple months, you know, with the broken wrist, came back, got sick, and, you know, that was kind of mentally really hard, physically hard. And, you know, I just had a great support system. You know, my family, the coaching staff, teammates, everybody, you know, here at the school just helped me kind of get through that. And then, you know, this year with the couple foot injuries, ankle injuries, you know, I just kind of taught myself how to stay prepared to come back and play, you know, whether it was, you know, on the bike, running in the underwater treadmill, everything to, you know, kind of keep my lungs in shape, you know, weightlifting, getting in there, doing extra weightlifting and stuff. Doing stuff that I could do, you know, while I was hurt. And, you know, I think going through some injuries early on in my career kind of helped me, you know, have a plan about what I do, you know, moving forward with injuries and stuff like that.
Advice then to someone who goes through an injury for the first time, like as what you would say to them changed over your time now going through some?
Yes and no. Yeah. I kind of think it's the same thing, you know, just always kind of, you know, stay grounded and stay mentally prepared of, you know, what's next. You know, everybody goes through injuries and stuff like that, but, you know, it's whether you got to stay in the gym, you got to stay doing the things you can do cardio-wise, lifting-wise, even just form shooting free throws and stuff. Like when I had my boots and stuff on, I was still, form shooting, getting free throws up and stuff, just doing the little things that I could do before I came back and played.
And by the way, Nate was also like yelling from the sideline constantly with a boot on, saying, guys, like, hey, this is where you go, right? Like, how about the mental appreciation for the game, Nate? Like, how much has your just mental state with basketball evolved over the last few years?
Yeah, a lot. I've been here for 5 years, so I know, what coach wants to see. And like you were saying, like when I'm on the sideline, I see guys that, this is their first year, second year. They're still learning what coach wants. And, I've been through everything with coach too. So I know, in our zones, everything. I know where you got to be, plays where you got to be. I know 1 through 5, every play that we got. So, I'm able to use my voice and kind of correct guys, coach guys, from the sideline. Which, is a big thing in college basketball, with leaderships or with, big leaders on the teams of any team for real. And,
Do you hear yourself sometimes thinking things that coach says out loud, and now are you saying things that coach says out loud to other people?
Yeah, sometimes. Just being around him for so long,
the Coach Altman-isms are real, right?
Yeah.
Now, what's it been like working with him, the entire coaching staff, Nate? Like, take fans inside that relationship.
Yeah, I've had a great relationship with the coaches ever since I got here. When I was in high school, Altman used to come down. I used to work out before school, before high school. Mm-hmm. And Coach Altman would come down. He'd watch me work out and stuff in the mornings. Then I'd go to class. Coach would come back up here, coach the team and stuff. But once I got here, we just started developing a relationship with the whole coaching staff. I know Kevin McKenna's been there with me for a long time. He started recruiting me when I was younger, and then Altman did. And Stubbs, he was here and then left, but he knew, I had a little bit of a relationship with him before he came back. And it's just great being able to work with these guys. And, K-Mac's been through it all. He's played in the league, all that stuff. Coach has got his career, set. And, all the coaches are there for you. And, I've just built a great relationship over the, 5 years now with all these coaches.
You're smiling as you say 5 years,
yeah.
Right? So, like, what does that mean to you now, to think back on 5 years? How do you encapsulate your career as a Duck?
Yeah, started off slow and, progressively got better and better. And, I think that's just what happens over time when you put in work and, over time it's going to show. And 5 years, it's been a long ride here. So,
I asked this, like, knowing that you've talked before about why you chose Oregon and having family close. But now as you think back on that, what has it been like to have your family so close, to be able to see you play so much at this level?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I got my parents, brothers and sister, friends, cousins, my cousins' kids, just people that I went to high school with that still pull up to the games up here and, say what's up. And, I think it's just great for me, being able to have my family here and being able to play in front of them, both sides of my grandparents. Yeah, everything. My great-grandma, she was able to come to a game last year and everything like that too. So it's just great having my family around.
So we think about the 5 years. I'm going to ask you to go down memory lane a little bit here. Do you have some favorite memories that stick out as you start to think about the career as a Duck coming to an end?
Yeah, I would say memory lane. You just fire a question away, I'll tell you.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, I mean, you've been through so many championships. We think about so many games. Like, do you have some favorite games that you're like, oh, man, I remember these performances?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I never lost to Oregon State in my career.
Yep.
So
Bravo, sir.
That's a dub. My favorite game probably was last year when we played at Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
We were down, 17 with 8 minutes to go, and, we came back and won the game. Jackson hit the crazy step back to go into overtime, and last year I think we were undefeated in overtime, so we knew what we were going to do in overtime. But that was probably my favorite college game. We won a Pac-12 tournament championship. There was a lot of good times over the 5 years that I've been able to experience.
I want to bring up one that you did not. I'm just curious. You talk about rivalries. Do you know your career high and who it's against?
Yeah, it was last year against Washington.
Yeah, it sure was. yeah, career high against Washington, 36 points. When you think about those matchups, and like I know you've had that rivalry kind of in your blood, all these rivalries for so long. As you think through now your career and all the great games, the points, the stats, like Where do you think you grew the most?
I would say probably just as a leader.
Really?
I was able to be here with Will Richardson. He was a great leader. He was here for, a couple years too, 4 years. Being able to kind of watch as a freshman, learning from him how to be a leader, and then, kind of moving on. Jermaine Cousinard, I was roommates and stuff with him, so, I got to know him really well, how he was a leader on and off the court. Dante, same thing, and, I think just being able to learn how to be a leader from those type of guys that, I've played a lot of college basketball and, learning, watching them, how they work out, how to handle themselves and everything like that. It just kind of made me into the leader that I am.
You've got your degree from the University of Oregon. Now I'm curious to think through what it's meant to be a Duck in general. Like, what's this place meant to you?
It's meant my whole career really so far. I've been here since a freshman. Not a lot of guys have been, are able to say that.
That's true.
And I just think the whole coaching staff, my teammates from my time I was a freshman to now, everybody that I played here with, my parents, grandparents, brothers and sisters, and everybody that's just been with me through the whole ride. I just greatly appreciate the student section, the fans, the Jaquan, the academic people, you guys traveling with us, every trip. It just kind of all comes together and, makes great memories. And, that's kind of just my time here, is just being able to build relationships with people and kind of looking back on it. It's kind of crazy. It's coming to an end, but, I think it's a good thing that, my time here is coming up.
Well, on behalf of all Ducks, thanks for choosing Oregon in the first place so we could even have this conversation.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to ask you the unfair question because you said it wouldn't quite settle in till after, but how's senior day going to feel?
Yeah, it's going to feel good, especially, if we get this win. I got a lot of people coming up for this game.
Good.
There's probably going to be I don't even know a number right now.
Honestly, Nate,
there's probably people that aren't even going to tell me it's still
I'm going to tell you the entire arena is going to be there for you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
All
appreciate it. So, but nah, I'm really thankful for my time here. Everybody that's been with me through everything, and it's sad it's coming to an end, but I'm ready for the next step.
Well, talk about the next step. Have you thought through that? Like, everyone, you want to go play in the league? You want to keep playing basketball? What's next for Nate?
Yeah. No, I'm definitely going to keep playing basketball. After the season, I'll go down to LA, start pre-draft workouts, and go from there. And whatever I get invited to, and try to make the best out of my opportunities.
All right, I'm going to leave you with a fun question. The biggest fish that you've ever caught in your time at Oregon is?
The biggest fish I've ever caught. I got to think.
That's a good thing that you have to think about this. Good.
I don't know. I've caught a lot of different types of fish.
Yeah.
I've caught trout, steelhead, salmon, bass. I've caught a lot of different types of fish, but I probably say probably steelhead. Yeah, I like steelhead fishing.
And I know better than to ask a fisherman where his favorite fishing spots are, so don't worry. I won't do that.
And my dad got all those spots, so I don't even know where they are.
That's
just
right.
Go ride in the car with Dad, and he'll take you to the spot. So.
That's great. That's great. Well, Nate, thanks for taking the time to come in the studio. Thanks for being a Duck. Thanks for
appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
That's Nate Bittle. He and the Ducks celebrating senior day against Washington coming up at 8 o'clock on Saturday, 7:30 pregame show with us across the Oregon Sports Network. We've got some fan specials to tell you about. We're also going to hear from Dana Altman. Stick with us on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
When life blindsides you with an injury, you need a team that's tough. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics. Because whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, we're both determined to do what it takes to win. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone or just taking a deep, calming breath to ground yourself. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org.
There's danger out there. It lurks on highways and quiet neighborhood streets. It's more likely to kill you than a shark and more terrifying than the biggest snake. Distracted driving claims lives every day. Every notification, swipe, social post, video, or selfie while driving risks your life. So while you might think public speaking or the zombie apocalypse is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
It's Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon men's basketball celebrating Senior Day against Washington. It's an 8 o'clock tip-off. The Ducks have a late one on Senior Day. Hope that everyone will join us when Oregon plays the Huskies. It's televised on Fox Sports 1, and we heard just now from Nate Bittle what this place meant to him, and I just hope he gets that standing ovation, and he and all of the seniors deserve that standing ovation. Also, you know what deserves a standing ovation? The Oregon concessions crew giving you some fan appreciation specials. 32-ounce souvenir soda for $3, $3 hot dog, $3 popcorn, also $6 Coors Lights, Topo Chicos, and 19.2-ounce Hop Valleys, all for $6. Available from when the doors open while supplies last for Oregon and Washington on Senior Day. Dana Altman, the Oregon men's basketball head coach, met with the media this morning at Matthew Knight Arena, getting ready for Senior Day coming up on Saturday.
How'd you like the fight from your guys this past week?
Oh, it was a long road trip. God, you leave and long flight and 5 days out on the road. Guys, we played hard against Northwestern, just made a couple turnover mistakes that just killed us, didn't give us an opportunity. And, the Illinois game, we couldn't hit a shot. Our energy level went down a little bit. Yeah, we had some good looks and just couldn't get one to fall. But no, the guys, for a long road trip, disappointed in the results, but I thought they did compete. We could have did a better job against Illinois, though. And like I said, I thought our energy level went way down when we missed shots.
What's just kind of your personal feelings about going into Saturday and it being Nate's last game and what he's meant to the program and just kind of his 5-year journey throughout being an Oregon Duck?
Well, we have some seniors, TK and Sasha and, Miles going through, Drew. But you're right. The one, Nate's been here 5 years and he's got a home here. Been a lot of ups and downs. He came in as a highly recruited guy, needed to get stronger, got bounced around pretty good inside, and Dante was pretty rough on him in practice. But no, he fought through injuries. He's been a guy that loves the university, loves the state. His family's been great. So no, I'm gonna miss Nate. We've last 5 years, he's, like I said, been through some ups and downs, but he's always been about the team. Very unselfish young man, always about the team. And so, no, he's been great to work with.
As much as the production on the court is going to be tough to replace, how much of his leadership and just the standard of when it's June or July, being in the gym for next year's team is going to have to replace?
Well, I think the standard is that, he cared about the place, and always talking about, the program. And, he's part of a couple NCAA tournament teams, and, he watched Peyton and that group go through when he was in high school, win a couple conference championships and a couple Sweet 16s. So, no, he's familiar with the program, and he's always been, like I said, about the team, about the universities. So those aspects will be missed greatly.
Do you think the era of a five-star kid who's had some ups and downs sticking with one program for his entire career is maybe something that's gone in college basketball?
It won't be as frequent. Before I got to Oregon, we had a lot of 5-year guys, and one particular guy, Anthony Tolliver, who played 11 years in the NBA, came in as a top 150 recruit, not real high, but, averaged 1 point a game as a freshman, 5 as a sophomore, and then, made a big jump junior and senior. You're not sure if those guys will hang around, and fight through things. He fought through a couple injuries his freshman and sophomore years. So, but it was so good to watch him, and then a junior and senior year, he put the team on his back. And, then, like I said, went through the CBA and, got into the league and spent 11 years in the NBA. But that fighting that adversity, going through those things, probably won't be as often. You won't see those kind of scenarios as often. But, and again, the freedom for players to move around, I don't think that's a bad thing. They get one college career and they have the right to play where they want. But, there's a negative side to it also, not having a home, a place to go to. If you go to 4 schools in 4 years, and that's why, like Nathan, this will always be his place. I think E.J. Singler coming to games and Garrett Sim, guys, Peyton was in L.A. to watch us play USC, Dylan coming back. The guys know where home is. And, you spend 16 years like this, you want those guys to always want to come back. Jermaine was here a couple weeks ago, just makes you feel good, that those guys, call this home and want to come back and see us.
And with that shift, right, in how the game is and how players are moving around so frequently, how challenging is that for you to create that depth that you may need for seasons like this when you have injuries and you might not have that experienced guy at the end of the bench that you can rely on?
Yeah, that is a problem. I addressed that, a week or two ago with, I didn't do a good job at, getting us deep enough with experience. I think the players can develop into good players, but that experience at this level when you're playing 13, 14 quad 1 games, you need experienced guys. You go to Purdue and those guys are old. Indiana, those guys are old. Northwestern, Martinelli's been there forever, it seems like, so it is just different. That experience is really important. Illinois got a couple young guys, but they also got some guys who've been around forever. Boswell, heck, I remember playing against him at Arizona, and so they've got experience and some really talented players, to mix in with them.
Makes a difference. Coach Altman meeting with the media. Won't get to all of his interview session today. It's available on the Go Ducks YouTube. Normally I'd say we'll have it for you tomorrow, but we don't have a show tomorrow because baseball's playing in the middle of the day with the Big Ten schedule. They're at Purdue, the return for Mark Wasikowski to Purdue where he was the head coach before coming back to Oregon. Looking forward to some baseball this weekend as Big Ten play gets rolling. And for Oregon men's basketball, the Ducks host Senior Day against Washington. An 8 o'clock start on Fox Sports 1 on Saturday. 7:30 pregame across the Oregon Sports Network with myself and Luke Jackson. Quick timeout, and when we come back, some specials for the weekend. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
More Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
If you build a relationship, then it becomes easier. If you build trust, it becomes easier. As a parent, you want what's best for your child. To give them the love that a child needs is probably the best you can do for a teenager.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
You say you'd never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, know it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Final segment of the week here on Duck Insider as we get ready for some baseball at Purdue here tomorrow. It's a 12:45 pregame show, and then the Ducks will take on the Boilermakers in a 3-game series to begin Big Ten play. You know, I will say, because I do see some potential rain in West Lafayette and some weather. Just keep an eye on the Oregon Baseball social media channels in case anything changes. Just keep an eye on it. Also of note, at the Student Tennis Center tomorrow, they're giving away pizza. They're also giving away a $100 Dave's Hot Chicken gift card. Oregon women's tennis with some giveaways for folks in Eugene. That kicks off a really busy weekend. Oregon softball hosting a tournament. Oregon acrobatics and tumbling on Friday night. We've got all kinds of stuff going on. Head to GoDucks.com for all your updates. We've got Duck Insider on Monday. Good luck to women's basketball the rest of the way in the tournament. See ya.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side.